Okay, so welcome. I'm Renee Rowe, International Intuitive Counselor and Teacher. So excited to be here with you today with the topic of connecting with your soul. So we'll be talking about your soul. And just so you know a little bit about my background and perspective with this topic, some of you already know that my background is working with the Akashic Record, which is the journey of the soul. And, I've done thousands of readings for people. And through the years of working with the access to the Akashic Record, you start to just accumulate information about the soul. And so that's what I'm going to be sharing with you today is just from my personal experience with accessing the Akashic Record, whether it's my own or of others, just learning about that journey of the soul and sharing some of that information with you today. And so the first thing I want to just start with is just kind of, what is your soul? What is the soul? For me personally, I resonate more with kind of the soul being the true essence. But the concept of the soul is found in many cultures and religions, and it is often described as an internal true essence of the person. So think about yourself as, you might have these different thought processes that come up, beliefs, your own human conditioning, your personality. And if you're able to tap into the deeper levels, kind of witnessing the layers of that and tapping into the depthness, your true essence, the soul, then you'll be accessing, to me, information that it maybe comes from a broader perspective instead of getting caught in the overwhelm of maybe personality. Other people could believe the soul to be a force that gives life and consciousness to the body, while others see it as an abstract concept that represents the essence of a person's being. So for me, I more resonate with that, right? The essence of someone's being, that true essence that can take time to connect with and tune in with. And again, just reminding you, this is through the perspective of the Akashic Record, right? The journey of the soul. So it's like, why are we here? How can even connecting with your soul support you? So we're here to learn, to grow and evolve, to connect with your true essence and live out this expression in your daily life. So you can imagine if you're able to tune in with this true essence, with your soul, then it does naturally bring a deep fulfillment and meaning to your day-to-day life. And another aspect, we're here to learn, to grow, and to evolve, is there could be these soul contracts of growth that we come into for this lifetime to work through that supports the growth and evolution of our soul. So just keeping that in mind, these growth contracts that we could come into to learn about during our life here. And next, I just want to talk about intentions. Oh, Jacqueline has a question here. Does the essence of the soul remain the same throughout each lifetime, or is it specific to each lifetime? The essence of your soul, your true essence, is the same. Okay? I also like to think of the soul as kind of that memory bank for us. Okay, because even in our life right now, we can only, maybe remember so much, right? We don't have all that daily awareness, access to even our past lives or all of our actions and thoughts and beliefs, right? And I like to also think of the soul as that memory bank for us that we can access and tapping into that true essence, right? I want you to think of it as also that memory bank that will allow you to have that broader perspective, finding that deeper meaning to what is happening in your life. So I think it's helpful, right, to think of also the soul as that memory bank where those memories are stored, not only within this lifetime, but many lifetimes. Okay, so now just shifting into intentions. Intentions for me are really, really important, and they can get overlooked. And what, like some first steps with really being able to tune in with your true essence, with your soul, is just getting in tune, bringing awareness of your intentions, the why behind what you're doing, the why behind your choices, your everyday actions, because your intentions can actually even teach you a lot about yourself and what is playing out in your life. So just a couple of tips of things to work with is that you might first just kind of, write down or journal and establish that spiritual ideal that you want to live by, your values. And I think it's helpful to write this out for yourself, and then maybe to even read it or read it out loud. What are those values, those spiritual goals that you have for yourself? Okay, it could be to bring kindness into the world, to interact from a loving space, forgiveness, compassion. One personally that I set for myself every day is to interact from the world from a healed space, right? So that requires me to have a lot of awareness around my human conditioning, my emotions, my patterns, wounds that I could be holding within myself and unknowingly playing out or interacting from. So for me, that's one of my spiritual ideals to live by, is to interact with myself and others in the world around me from a healed space. So to me, that's kind of that first step of really figuring out what are your values? What are these spiritual ideals that you want to live by in your life? So this is that first step to accomplishing that personal transformation and soul development for yourself. And after that is established, and you might already have some things in mind, maybe it's already really clear to you. And then we're going to bring in the intentions and starting to bring in awareness of your intentions. And it could, and I would say just doing it, making it easy, just in your day-to-day life, just starting to, set that intention to bring in an awareness of what your intentions are. Even with your interactions with loved ones, with friends, family, tuning in, what's my intention here? And then you're going to want to start bringing in your spiritual ideals and see if your intentions are in alignment with the spiritual ideals that you've set for yourself. And it's completely normal when we're starting to bring awareness to what our intentions are behind our choices, our interactions with people, our actions that we take, that we find that we do need to adjust and shift our intentions. And if you find that out about yourself, where you actually kind of find out like, oh, I had a really strong kind of personal agenda towards this person when I checked in with my intention. I even noticed that I had this intention to control a person or a situation, right? And I want you to just be really gentle with yourself. If you notice that there's an intention that needs to shift or change, welcome in gentleness, right? We are all here to grow, to learn and evolve. So we might as well welcome in that gentleness towards ourselves when we find out that we have some intentions that need to shift or change to honor our growth and evolution of our soul. Okay, so just recapping that, right, because this could be really supportive, is just first getting really clear about what those spiritual ideals are for you, your spiritual values. And then you're going to start bringing in that awareness, checking in. Sometimes it takes a little bit of pausing, of asking, what are my intentions here when I approach this person? What are my intentions with this choice that I'm making? Are these intentions in alignment with my spiritual values that I want to live by? If you get that yes for yourself, it's like, oh, great, I'll continue on this path. If you notice that those intentions need some shifting and changing, you've just welcomed in that choice for yourself, right? To make a choice that's more in alignment with your spiritual values, or to continue down a path that can move you away from that. Okay, so just stressing that importance of our intentions. Okay, they're really important, and they can easily get overlooked because in our lives we do get really busy, and sometimes it can be challenging to take that moment to pause and check in with our intentions. Okay, and I'm just checking questions here. So we have one from Mina here. Is there an individual soul on a long journey through many lifetimes, or do we go back into a collective soul? Do we stay separate from collective even between lifetimes? So let's see. What I would say is that there is always that collective soul. And it could be, illusion might be a strong word. We might have this perception of being individual, but I'm seeing that we're always connected to this collective, this greater, and I could call that the collective energy, collective source, collective soul. Okay, there could be different words for that. Okay, so I want you to imagine that you're here now and you're able to maybe connect with this individual expression, this individual soul, but at the same time, it's connected to a collective soul. So I'm not seeing that as separate. Okay. Another way to look at that's kind of could be easier to grasp is when people think of kind of like the ocean, and then like droplets of water going into the ocean. Okay, where maybe that ocean is the collective soul, and that water, that the droplets of water might be perceived as kind of individual droplets, but they're part of this greater whole. Okay, so to me, they exist simultaneously. Does that help, Mina? So, okay. fun question. Yeah. Okay. So we talked about the importance of the intentions, okay? And we're going to talk about now just our life experiences. So just that reminder, right, with the perspective of the Akashic record, we do come in with specific soul contracts into our lifetime to grow, to evolve. And what if we were to encounter everything that happened to us for a reason? What if life's experiences were purposeful, orderly, and ultimately helpful in nature? And that can actually be really challenging to hold on to in those moments in life when they're feeling bumpy, they're feeling rocky, where we might be dealing with emotional pain and going, why is this happening to me? And it could be challenging in those moments to see the bigger picture of what is happening. And when you're connected to your true essence, to the soul, it does support you in moving through those moments with more grace. Because instead of feeling like life is against you, you know deeply within yourself that it is supporting you in some way, even though you may not be able to see it in the present moment. And that could be just a great reflective question when you notice that there's a hiccup, there's a challenge, right? Asking, how is life supporting me right now? What am I learning? Okay. An example of this is maybe we've been really busy and our soul guidance has been coming in to ask us to slow down, to pause, to bring more awareness into our daily life. But we overlook that message, that guidance. And then all of a sudden, maybe we're dealing with an injury. You break a bone or tear something. Maybe you're dealing with some kind of physical injury that requires you, or an illness that requires you to slow down, to pause, to rest, and bring in more of that present awareness to your daily life. So that's just an example of something coming in to supporting us, but in the moment we could initially perceive it as something that we don't want, a challenge, a hiccup, and could easily overlook how it's supporting us on that deeper soul level. And we all have our different specific contracts of growth to experience in our lifetimes. And our life experiences support that growth. And those contracts, some examples of those different contracts of growth could be, maybe we come in to really focus on, healing ourselves, because maybe we're meant to support others in healing themselves. Maybe situations come in that allow us to practice forgiveness, or to love, to trust, right? To speak up, to have compassion. Those are just some examples. But we bring in these certain contracts of growth so that we can evolve on that soul level. And so it's good to just bring awareness to what you're experiencing in life right now, and how that could be related to a specific contract of growth that you have on that soul level. And having that awareness of that sometimes just supports us with, instead of fighting and resisting the experiences that are supporting our growth, we can bring more acceptance in, embrace, and it allows us to move through those with a little bit more grace, a little bit more ease. When we let go of that resistance to our own growth, even in those moments when it's feeling really painful. So it's just helpful, right, to start bringing awareness of like, what are these life experiences you're going through right now? Is there a theme in your life? And can you relate that theme to a specific, growth contract, soul growth contract for yourself? And once you kind of have clarity around that, you can identify that, you'll notice that it can be easier to move through it. You can bring acceptance in to that growth, or even hold your center in moments of discomfort. And you can even get to the point, even in those uncomfortable growth moments, that you feel extremely grateful for the opportunity to experience it and move through it. So our life experiences that are coming in, they're supporting us to grow. Say if we have a trauma that's happened, right? That can be a situation that's happened, in younger years, childhood or something, where there's an overwhelm of emotions. Maybe we didn't feel safe in some way. And imagine that trauma energy is held within your energetic space, okay? And maybe it's pushed back so far that you've lost conscious awareness of that trauma energy that's being held in your space. And then our life experiences that come in begin to reflect that trauma so you can experience again maybe those a little bit of those triggers, those emotions that happened when that initial trauma began. Okay. And that is life supporting us to bring awareness to that trauma that's being held within so that it can heal. Those life experiences aren't intended to intentionally create this suffering or torture for us, but they're supporting us into seeing parts within ourselves that we don't have that conscious awareness of. And it might be uncomfortable in the moment, but when we start connecting the dots, right, of, oh, wow, what I'm experiencing right now with this life experience, it's uncomfortable. Like you might just be feeling like you're getting, incidences of feeling violated or something, right? And then you realize, oh, this is from this trauma that I've been holding. And now you have that conscious awareness of it. Your life experiences supported you to heal. And just a little example of, moments that can feel uncomfortable or challenging, but our life experiences are supporting us. Okay. So next, I want to talk about free will choice. So I do have a belief in free will choice. Also with, my background working with the Akashic Record, there is that belief in free will choice. So we're talking about those life experiences, how they're supporting us, how they can lead us to personal and spiritual growth. Okay. And just that reminder, it greatly supports us when we can bring in acceptance instead of fighting and resisting what is happening right now. Okay. And even just starting to have awareness of that. Are you resisting and fighting against your life? Are you resisting and fighting against what's happening right now? Because when you can bring in acceptance, you then give yourself the opportunity to start receiving that guidance, that support to move through that. Okay. And to me, that's choice right there. Free will choice. Okay. So you can choose, right, to stay fighting against, resisting what is happening in your life. Or you can make that choice to bring in acceptance of, okay, this is happening right now. I'm accepting that this is what's happening right now. And then you'll notice with that acceptance, the guidance comes through on how to move through those moments. Okay. And what you will notice is if you do choose to stay in that fighting against or resistance, or making the changes to not shift or change how you're currently approaching something, then life is going to support you with providing more and more opportunities to work through that. So the pattern will continue to play out. However, if you make that choice to heal, to grow, right? You're bringing in that acceptance of, okay, this is what's happening. And then that guidance comes through, that support comes through, that deeper connection with your soul, your true essence comes through, and you're guided through those moments. But we do have choice in how we move through life. One of the intentions that I hold in my heart and in every moment is that intention to choose to heal. So that's just one for me that I'll hold in my heart, an intention to choose to heal. So when moments come up to support my growth, I can lean in to that intent of choosing to heal, so I can let go of patterns that aren't serving me. I can honor the growth of my soul and evolve. Because otherwise, what could happen if we choose to stay in that pattern is we're going to be facing that same pattern over and over again. And sometimes people will choose that for lifetimes, and that's okay. I like to bring a lot of patience and gentleness in that, right? Being gentle, because sometimes things can be a big hurdle to heal. And it is important to bring in that gentleness, that kindness, that patience in with yourself. Sometimes things take lifetimes to heal, and that's okay. Okay? Because you have that choice to choose when you're wanting to move through something and when you're going to wait for that signal to get just a little bit louder, so you can be more uncomfortable, and then that can support you in making the change. And so I just want to talk a little bit about, when we're talking about connecting with that deep soul self, that true essence, right? It's going to, you're going to be able to kind of hold your center with things and see them from that broader perspective. However, we do have our personality self. And we can be prone to making choices and decisions based upon impulses, desires, and habitual modes of behavior. For me, when I started meditating, just silent meditation. Some of you are familiar. If you go on my YouTube channel, there's a candlelight silent meditation. That's a great one for practicing this. But for me, what was so eye-opening when I just started practicing a little, daily kind of silent meditation is I was able to start having awareness of my own conditioning, having that awareness of, oh, I have this impulse or this desire that comes up. And instead of just unknowingly acting upon it, you can bring in that awareness and seeing like, oh, this, like I have a natural desire or impulse to move in this direction in life. And then your human conditioning starts unraveling, and you can pinpoint the conditioning that happened in order to be kind of prone to moving in a certain direction. Okay. We're also influenced by past lives as well. Not just this life, not just childhood upbringing. And it's really helpful if you can bring conscious awareness around that instead of just, maybe acting out and making choices unknowingly. Okay. To me, that's choice right there, right? We can make that choice to start bringing that conscious awareness to kind of those subconscious areas of ourselves and make more informed decisions and choices for ourselves. Instead of just kind of unknowingly making choices and decisions from those impulses or desires that come in. And I would say if you're really wanting to kind of work with this, if you notice that reoccurring patterns are happening in your life, this could be really helpful. Pausing, bringing in that awareness of, oh, I'm desiring to make this choice, to move in this direction, and just pausing with that and seeing what part of you is that coming from. Is that coming from your true essence, your soul? Or is that desire or your way of thinking coming from maybe what you picked up and learned from in childhood? Are those beliefs even yours that you're making these choices from? Okay. So just again, something that had helped me a lot with being able to witness my own personal, like, human conditioning was just, daily silent meditation. It really allowed me to come into that awareness and not just to act out. Okay, I'll share a little story where I witnessed this. I think it was in my early 20s. I was volunteering at an orphanage in Bolivia, and I remember we were out playing soccer out on the field, and right in the middle of the soccer field, there's this kid fixing the slide. So he's welding the slide in the middle of the soccer field, and there's sparks flying everywhere. He's not wearing any safety protective gear. There's sparks flying everywhere. And I'm like playing the game. I'm really into it. And I see the kid, welding the slide in the middle of the soccer field. And, and I pause and I'm like, oh, I'm not going to play, he shouldn't be doing that. These were my thoughts going on. And I had to, then I had to, like, okay, let's pause and see what's happening here. And I decided to go deeper into these thought patterns that I was having. I was having a lot of judgment towards this kid welding the slide in the middle of the soccer field. And to the point where I was just like, well, I'm not going to play. This isn't right. And I had to witness my thoughts coming up. And then I just noticed, like, oh, this is just from my human conditioning of where I brought up and all these, like, conditioning around keeping ourselves safe and things like that. And it was just my conditioning that was contributing to these thought patterns coming out. And it was so eye-opening for me because because I overlooked just pausing and witnessing what was happening in my environment, and nobody was getting hurt. Everybody was fine. They were completely present, and they just stayed out of the way of the sparks and the welding and the slide. And they felt completely safe and in trust with everything. And in that moment, it was just so eye-opening for me to be able to witness my own kind of cultural conditioning that I grew up with, and was able to then pause and witness other people's approach to something. And then I was able to just tune into that rhythm and continue to play the game, and everyone was fine, right? Everyone was safe, everyone was fine, but it was my own conditioning and thoughts of judgment that were just getting in the way at first. So those are just ways to break down that self for you. Break that down for yourself, right? Noticing, when do we have those moments of heavy judgment coming in? That's that cue. Oh, this can just be coming from my conditioning, my thoughts, my patterns, things from my upbringing, wounds, pains that you're holding within. And I just say, let yourself pause in those moments and learn about yourself more deeply. Right? And then you can step out of that right and wrong way of viewing and seeing that broader perspective of how things are fitting in to each other. And to me, if we are able to tune in with our true essence, our soul selves, we can make choices and decisions that honor our growth and development. And we'll also notice that we naturally begin to lead these very profound, meaningful, and purposeful lives for ourselves. And less suffering, less getting caught up in the mental stories and emotions. There could be less suffering as well. This allows for having that conscious awareness to living our lives, connecting with that greater meaning in each moment. And so next, I just want to talk about some ways, if you're interested in just connecting, right, with your deeper self, okay, your soul self. Just some really helpful practices. A lot of you know I'm a big fan of meditation. I've had a daily practice since 2005. And that foundation has supported me so much in my life, especially with gaining more clarity, just having that clarity, being able to hold your center through challenging moments in life. And so meditation, there's so many different forms of meditation. Again, you can go to my YouTube channel if you haven't yet. I think a lot of you have. And there's some really great guided meditations there. Okay. And I'm a fan of visualization meditation, where it's interactive with your growth and healing process. But there's also just silent meditation, where if you just practice even 5 to 10 minutes a day, you'll start noticing that you have more of that self-awareness, conscious awareness, before, unknowingly acting out on those patterns, right? And that can be kind of one of those first steps of being able to connect with that deeper soul self. I'm also a big fan of gratitude, having a gratitude practice. And that could just be, every night before you go to sleep, thinking about your day and thinking about things that you're grateful for. Okay. That gratitude practice is really supportive with elevating the frequency, elevating your frequency. And when we do that, that does give us an opportunity to see things from that broader perspective, not getting overwhelmed into the emotions and stories of something, not getting overwhelmed in judgment or blame, having that gratitude practice. Another way is, being of service in a way that could be really fulfilling for you. If that is calling to you, maybe volunteering or being of service in any way, I would recommend checking in with your intentions of why you're doing that. Okay. And just making sure that those intentions, right, are in alignment with your spiritual values, your spiritual ideals for yourself when you're being of service. Okay. I just mentioned that because sometimes people might get caught in how they're perceived by others being of service. And so you're going to want to just make sure those intentions work for you. Journaling. Journaling, it could be really supportive of just getting to know yourself more deeply, checking in with your emotions, how you're feeling. Okay, having that privacy to yourself to just open up and share what's going on with you, because it allows for the opportunity to get to know yourself more and more on that deeper level. And another way is, some of you are already familiar with this, is accessing your Akashic record, that journey of the soul, and being able to have that resource that allows for deep clarity and insight, that is giving information from all of that history, that information, and future potentials, right? We were talking about that memory in the soul. So being able to tap into that, which is greatly supportive to the personal growth, the soul growth, and evolution. Okay. So that's what I have for you all today. We're just talking about the soul. Thank you so much. Let's see if I can, stop share. There we go. Okay. Aw. Oh, we have one more question here. Jacqueline's asking, is the soul's journey ever complete? Is it ever complete? I would, I haven't witnessed it yet, but one thing you guys probably notice, for me, I don't hold on to absolutes. I haven't witnessed a soul coming to completion. Okay. What I've witnessed is this continuous honoring of the evolution of the soul, and right, and that can be played out in a lot of different ways, right? So say if a being already embodied unconditional love, right, and maybe they have that contract to come in and support humanity, okay, and if they say yes to that calling to support humanity because they embody unconditional love, to me, that would be that continuation of the journey of the soul. Okay, so I just bring that in because there can be different ways that plays out. Okay, where there's this continuous honoring of the evolution of the soul. It could be that it meets some completion. Have I ever witnessed that? No, I haven't. Whether it's with humans or spiritual beings, I haven't witnessed that completion. It always seems like there's this honoring of the evolution of the soul. Okay. Okay. Well, thank you so much, everyone. I really appreciate your time and for being here. Aw, aw, thank you so much. Thank you for your questions too. I appreciate them. Bye.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Bye.
Bye-bye.